CarCast, 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 the CarCast, CarCast.
All right. Patience. Welcome to the first episode of CarCast. That's right. Jesus Charlie is disbanded and it is no more. As you can listen, if you go back and listen to the first and only 10 episodes of Jesus Charlie, it ran its course, and now we're here for a new thing. So this show is going to take place only in the car, which for me is going to be very rare. I probably don't get in the car more than once a week, so if this is going to stay as an hour show, I might have to do one episode every 2 weeks. Because I'm not really sure how much I'll be able to record on a weekly basis. Certainly not an hour. However, for this show, to make it a little extra special, I am considering starting to shop at Trader Joe's, which is much further away by comparison than the Kroger that I usually shop at, which will give me a little bit more time to go over stuff that I've written down or thought of that day. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more prepared, a little bit more sacrimonious than just the simple get up and go platform that Jesus Charlie was. And so I'm making a quick little run to the grocery store right now for a few things, getting some beer, getting some chocolate chips, maybe some ice cream, not for me. With some cilantro, some arugula. Love arugula. But yeah, I was just sitting at home. It didn't really want to go outside because it's supposed to rain, and I don't want to get stuck in the rain. So I thought, hey, why not just go ahead and make an intro clip for the new show and get things established and going with that. I don't know if it's safe necessarily to podcast while driving, but I mean, it can't be any more dangerous, and probably is far less dangerous than talking on the phone while driving, because I don't have to listen to anything. I'm still very aware of all my surroundings, looking around, and got a pretty good amount of experience with podcasting while driving, at least the car clips that I've had in the past. So yeah, the only real thing I can think about that's on my mind right now is the stuff about the German airplane pilot who recently crashed his plane into some mountain area in France and basically killed everyone aboard, including himself, and all the shakeup and protocol changing that's happening now as a result of that. That's been on my mind a lot. I like to go to CNN.com every day and sort of see what's going on. I don't necessarily trust CNN's opinion necessarily or what they have to say, but I feel like if anything really important ever happens, CNN will know about it pretty quickly, and they have a very convenient, though fear porn based red banner at the top that usually says whatever the most breaking news thing is. Most recently, I guess today, it was that thing about how the Indiana governor needs to clarify what his new legislation is going to mean for people who are gay and living in Indiana, because I guess there's some sort of a loophole now where you can decide not to hire someone because they conflict with your religious beliefs, which obviously is pretty backwards and something that's pretty stupid. But when it comes to me and social issues, like I'm not really someone who cares about that stuff. Like, maybe it's just because I'm a white male and the world is basically made for and by us, white male historically speaking. Not to say that in a sexist or racist way, although it's hard for it to come out any other way. But I mean, there's no denying the fact that historically speaking, everything in the most recent 500-year period, maybe more, has been done by men, and most recently, in America at least, usually it's been white men. And so, I mean, not something to be proud or ashamed of necessarily, but just sort of a blatant truth of history, I suppose. And things are changing, and I think that's good because, nothing lasts forever, and I think that part of humanity's evolution over time will definitely be to become more integrated with our brothers and sisters, so that we can, share greater ideas and come to see better. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I'm of the opinion that, like, for instance, like, if ever I get too involved in my own life or think about stuff that I might have to check myself on, just like thinking about things that are petty or just, irrelevant or unimportant, I'll just, I like to take the cosmic perspective, think about some Neil deGrasse Tyson or some Richard Dawkins or some Christopher Hitchens or some Sam Harris or any of those guys, Daniel Dennett, any of those guys, just to get some good perspective, like, we're not the center of the universe. If you look up at the stars, their number far outweigh our number, etc., so on and so forth. It's the great equalizer. And with that, here I am at the store. This is okay. So, like, don't think that this is going to be as good as it gets. This is just the preamble. This is just warming up the engine, and I like it. I mean, I think Jesus Charlie was a little bit too serious. Maybe I had too lofty of goals for it or something, and that's where Molt kind of had its stride in comparison to Jesus Charlie. Because Molt was just like, turn on the recorder, who cares what comes out, fuck it. And that should have been the subtitle. Molt, turn on the recorder, who cares what comes out, fuck it. And maybe that's what I'm striving for here with the CarCast. It's like, it's not serious, it doesn't matter what's said, who gives a shit. It's not for the listener, it's for me. And if it turns out to be boring and stupid, as it doubtlessly will be, then that's okay. It's just the CarCast. Come on. Yeah. Seatbelt for safety. All right. Welcome back to the CarCast, the only show that rolls with you. That's right. Thought about that while I was inside Kroger. It was a pretty good little tagline. CarCast, the only show that rolls with you. And, we're done now at the store. It didn't take very long. I didn't even pull out my my Comedy Bang Bang to listen to because it was such a focused and quick effort. We got a guy coming through. Okay, you coming? Okay, gotcha. Maybe, let's see if I can do this. Yes, okay, we're rolling. Was that the best $25 I've ever spent? No. But it was the best $25 I have spent tonight, that's for sure. I got some guy behind me in like a motorized bicycle. He looks like a very, very weird guy. Looks like a guy who probably is going to be me in the future. Let's see. Going back home. What time is it? It's almost 10:30. Jesus. I'm getting late to Tuesday night. I have a feeling this week's going to go by fast. It's gone by fast so far. And as I said, it's supposed to rain, so I'm looking forward to that. I keep seeing little flickers of lightning. Bump, bump. And I personally enjoy the sound of rain, especially at night, at the end of the day, when you're inside anyway, and there's nothing else that you wanted to do outside or nowhere else you wanted to go. I really enjoy that soothing sound of the pitter-patter of rain, especially the place that Erica and I live right now. It has like a metal roof of some sort, and so the clinging and clacking is very defined and very. It's not loud because I mean it's like subdued and quiet enough. But when I was younger, I used to always love to fall asleep with the air conditioning going. Like I would purposefully go, much to my father's dismay, to the thermostat right before I was about to commit to going to sleep. Because, you know, you would have a little bit of time before actually going to bed, especially when you were a kid in school. Like, you didn't really want to go to bed. I hated having a bedtime. That was something that I just really... The day I realized that I didn't have to go to bed anymore at the time that was prescribed by my parents was one of the happiest days of my life. Just because there was nothing more frustrating than having to feeling like you had to go to bed, so that you I don't know, it was this weird sort of restrictive kind of like unnatural feeling. Like you can't just go to sleep. The body isn't just like an on-off switch. And so when my parents would tell me that I had to go to bed at a certain time, you know, I would just lay there and I would just think about stuff and freak myself out. I used to be really afraid of robbers breaking into my house. But all that to say, I used to also, like to go and turn on the thermostat so that the air conditioning would kick on right before I fell asleep, because it was just very soothing and comforting. It was kind of like the swelling of the ocean, or maybe it's got some sort of I don't know, womb type effect where it reminds me of being a baby somehow, or before I was a baby, before I was even born. There was a thread there that I was going to pick up and seamlessly travel. Oh yeah. Around the same time that I enjoyed listening to the air conditioning when I would go to sleep, I think this is, as a side note, this is also before I started biking, so I didn't necessarily have like an exhausted body by the end of the day, which these days I do have. It's just a completely withered and contracted body by the end of the day, so it's just like it prays for sleep, my body, far before it comes. But I remember deliberating for a long time, because I was also pretty scared of going to sleep, trying to figure out if I would prefer to have my door open or closed, and the door to my room, that is. And the deliberation basically came down to, since I was so fearful, did I want to see death coming for me, or would I prefer to live in ignorance and be taken in ignorance, I suppose. And so this was a pretty serious consideration for me. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to do or to have, because it's kind of scary. As soon as you close your door, you know, you're kind of closed off. Your exits are limited, and you don't have the clarity. If you only have one door into your room, as I did, and as most rooms only do, if you heard something, it wasn't easy to investigate whether or not it was something that you needed to be alarmed about. If your door is open, you can just look. If you hear footsteps coming down the hall, you wake up. Oh, it's your sister going to the bathroom. No worries, go back to sleep. But you hear footprints. You hear footsteps going down the hall. Your door's closed. There's no way to figure it out. Long story short, decided to go with knowing what was out there, what was coming, and keeping my door open at night. And I think that the air conditioning kind of helped me with that, because it sort of buffeted I guess my worries, kind of lulled me to sleep. It was just a sound machine, basically. Never had a sound machine, but I bet I would have loved it. Had a friend who had a sound machine, and it just seemed kind of annoying, but maybe, I don't know, white noise, it's a comforting thing. Maybe, from dust to dust, from ashes to ashes. The white noise is it's the background radio waves of the fledgling universe. And so perhaps listening to it in whatever capacity you are, whether it be from the fuzziness of the TV or a radio station that doesn't exist, two things that don't really happen very much anymore with modern technology. Trying to back up into this space. Yeah, maybe you're just getting back to something really primal there, and it's like comforting, and because you're just kind of resonating with on like an autumnal level, just like as an atom, your atoms are collectively vibrating, and it's just like, it's that zen, that oneness, that unity. Going in for a second reverse now. I'm back home. Lightning's picking up. No precipitation yet, but I'm sure that's coming. We have contact. All right. Well, if nothing else, this is just a CarCast. This is just a CarCast, and it's Friday. I'm trying to adjust my mirrors here. Looks good. Alright, and we're off to the races again. Happy Friday. It's been a beautiful day. No rain. It's been nice and warm. Might have gotten a little bit of a kiss from the sun on my skin. Oops, didn't mean to push that button. So I am out now, headed to Trader Joe's. Nice to have you along with me. Like I said, this is a new venture for me. CarCast. And I made the theme song for the show. I'm just going to kind of riff for a second because I don't really know what to talk about yet. It's a little warm in here too. Let me turn down the air, turn that down, maybe open a window a little bit. Turn on my lights. Yeah, so I had the idea for this theme song for this show and put that together the other day, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's about as stupid as it can be, which is exactly what I asked for. So let's see. I'm taking some clothes right now for Erica to donate to the American Kidney Foundation, which we do from time to time. We don't go to church, but we do donate to our local charities, and that's kind of how we square that circle. So I'm going now to get over there, I think a lot of this show is going to be me just narrating what I'm doing, which is fine by me. But there's a little donation center over here off the cab, and I am excited to take this journey because I need to time it too. So it's about 7:55 right now, so I want to see approximately how long this is going to take to get to the actual thing, the actual store. It's been a continuing saga for quite a while now that the batteries for this recorder have continued to persist. And the last episode of Jesus Charlie, episode 10, I pretended like the batteries died at the very end, and then that's when I stopped talking. And that was a little bit of a creative license on my part. I had to stretch the truth a bit because the batteries didn't actually die. They're still going. I'm recording with them as I speak, which is a little bit incredible, a little bit daunting, because I know every second I spend recording another clip is one more second further towards the inevitable time when they will actually die. I dread that because, I don't want to lose anything. If I feel like I recorded a really good clip and then I look down to a blank screen, I'll obviously be pretty disappointed. Today I was listening to the final episode of Dixon Jane's, episode 500 of that show. And for a long time, Scarborough Dude, I mentioned him, I guess, in the last episode of Jesus Charlie as well, but he talked about how he wanted to kind of call it quits and stop recording a podcast and just kind of move on to something else, another creative outlet kind of thing. And so I was listening to that last episode today. I'm going to have to prepare myself real quick for a turn coming up here, right here actually. So let's start decelerating and, okay, taking a turn. All right, I guess you can come with me. I was going to say I'll be right back, but why not? Let's get all this shit turned off, turn off the lights. All right, let's do this. A little bit of wind. That's the bag of stuff. Erica used a garbage bag, but I know better. No need to waste a perfectly good garbage bag when plastic bag from the store will do. That's it. Simple as that. Thanks for joining me. I have a pretty fun night in the store. Obviously, I'm excited about going to the store. Get all this stuff back situated. God, I need to fix this little gasket thing. I need to write that down. Hold on, let me write that down. This gasket has been hanging off of Erica's car for quite a while, and every time I'm in the car, I think, God, I gotta fix that. And then every time I get out of the car, I think about something else and totally forget. Ooh, I also want to see the age for tires. Okay, so fix gasket. All right, good, cool, we're good. So yeah, tonight, I'm excited about tonight because it's a night of many tasks. And if there's one thing I love, it's tasks. Especially when they're of my own devising and execution and creation and etc. So tonight we are doing all of our weekend chores a day early because we're going up to my parents' mountain house to spend Easter with them up there. And I'm not really a big fan of going up to the mountains. It's not that I dislike the mountains themselves. I actually kind of like them because it's nice scenery, obviously. Jeez, it's very congested down here. I don't like this. Gotta go like really slow. Nice scenery. It's cool to be kind of disconnected for a little while, especially when you live in the city like I do and like Erica does. It's nice to kind of see how the other half live, but I don't like going to the mountains because it just takes a long time to get there. Like, it takes about 2 hours or so, I would say, just to get to the mountains. And I don't like that just because it eats such a big part of your day. Like, I guess technically that's a 12th of your day that's getting spent just on getting to where you're going to be, and then you actually have to enjoy it once you get there, which that's the easy part. But not looking forward to that drive, except I do plan on doing some CarCasts, so maybe I'll do a road trip edition, but maybe I should make some notes for that, because it's a lot of material potentially to cover, or at least it's a lot of time to cover a lot of material if a lot of material were to exist. It's trying to Okay, let's go. Alright, I'm trying to kind of map out the best way to get to where I'm going. So I'm on McClendon right now, and I want to get to Trader Joe's over on Monroe. So if I get to Boulevard somehow, which I could easily do, although I've kind of fucked myself up coming this way if I'm going to Boulevard. Could take Boulevard. That's probably the fastest and easiest way. Is there a more creative way that would be more enjoyable? I could go Ponce. I don't think I want to go Ponce. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go Boulevard. Gotta reorient myself. But the mountains will be cool. It won't be very long that we're there. Probably just approximately 24 hours or so. And tonight we're going to do all of our normal chores, like already started all the laundry, and that's pretty much done now. We're going to do some vacuuming. Obviously I've got Erica's gasket written down to fix. What else? There was another thing. Just stuff like that, I guess. Trying to take a left now. Let's see. That's how we do it. People almost getting hit by cars. The night is young, too. Still a lot of time for people to get hit by cars. All right, here we go. Taking it to the streets. Almost 10 minutes already. Nothing much has been said. Nothing much has been accomplished. I'm about to get on to cab. Behind a MARTA bus currently. I guess it can definitely be said that the seasons have changed. Again, I'll always be out biking around no matter what the season or weather is like. But it's really crazy how many more people are out these days, especially me going to work on the Beltline. It's like just mounds and mounds of people. Let's see what's going on over here. All right, we have made it. So, okay, I just remembered another thing that I wanted to do was to check Erica's tires, because I was just learning the other day about, well, my dad actually taught me this originally. It's like one of the good things my dad is able to do very well is just like be extremely, extremely practical. He's probably, I'm a pretty practical person, and sometimes to a fault, but I think I don't even hold a candle probably to my dad. And most people probably don't hold a candle to me, so that's a lot of people not holding candles to other people. And then my dad, he knows all these little things about life that are sort of like, I don't know, the mechanics of society maybe. Like I remember this one time when I had my second car, really. I wrecked my first car, got in a bad wreck, ran into the back of a van. Geez, there's a bunch of fucking things back here, like plates to cover the street, because I guess they're doing work. But I was driving around in my car and watching all the gauges and stuff, and my temperature gauge started to go up and up and up and up, and pulled over my car and like called my dad, and he knew exactly like what we should do and if I should keep driving it versus not driving it, and where we should take it and what was going on most likely, and just all this practical stuff. And it was like one of the first times I really realized that if a bad situation ever occurred, my dad would be there very quickly to help. Because my dad, I would never say like I would be able to have like a really good conversation with him that I felt like we both were like learning and growing from. I don't think that's gonna probably ever really happen, or get to be any more intimate or revealing than what we've had in the past. And so, like, I wouldn't call on my dad in a situation that wasn't, like, a vital type of thing, because I don't know if he would actually react very quickly to it. But when my car was overheating, and it was, like, a real situation that needed some pretty serious attention, he immediately left what he was doing. It was a weekend, I think, so he was free. But nonetheless, he was able to come and, like, help me out. And I just kind of realized the depth of his character at that point, and just like what he takes to be important, and like what you can depend on him for. How does that relate to what I was saying before that? Oh yeah, so my dad taught me how to figure out how old tires are, which is pretty important to know, just in general, if you're trying to keep your vehicle in good working order, which I wouldn't necessarily care about doing that if I hadn't had my own stint trying to fix this very vehicle that I'm driving, and ended up fixing. But, you know, doing that little period of time when I was really into Erica's car, which just completely evaporated all that interest and all that time and all I mean, I was watching YouTube videos every single day. I actually watched a few of them today just out of nostalgia, but just like old videos of people working on cars and explaining how cars work. And I mean, to me, it was like as soon as I understood the basic mechanics of engines and how a car basically works, it kind of opened up my eyes to how everything kind of works, because ultimately people are just using the same kind of machinery and sort of, I mean, like a pulley is a pulley is a pulley, a gear is a gear is a gear. You know, chains do what chains do, and the people don't really vary. Like you're never going to see like an engine or a creation or like, you know, an iPod or something that doesn't have like silicon chips. Anyway, like you're not going to see that in the near future. It might happen where quantum computing gets put into place and silicon doesn't exist anymore. But for the time being, there's like a standard, and so like as soon as I understood how cars work and understood that standard, I kind of was able to see a little bit more in depth just how everything kind of works. Got a wheelchair man crossing the street. Let's let this guy go. Oh, he's not going. Well, okay. So my dad taught me how to figure out how old tires are. So I think when I get to Trader Joe's, probably I'll go ahead and try to read those tires and figure out how old each one is. Because if like, I think her back back passenger side tire on Erica's car, I think it might be in pretty bad shape. My dad has pointed it out before, that it was old and had a little bit of wear on the sidewall, which is never good. And then Erica recently had some car work done to her car last month, and they were, I think she got like a new rotor and like got her brake pads and everything replaced. And it was like $600 it was like $400 to do that. But the same day, she also took Charlie, our dog, to the vet, and he had to get some medicine and like a checkup or something. And I think he got some shots as well, actually. But he had all that done. That was like $200. So in one day, she was actually sick this day. Like she wasn't feeling well, and I was like, if you're gonna be around the house and you have time and you don't feel completely awful, you know, like you should like run some errands and stuff, because we always have things that we're needing to do, but just don't have time because of work and stuff. And usually on the weekends, you know, we don't want to make the effort to go and kind of waste the day doing chores that aren't brief and fun, because we have our daily chores and we have the things that we do day in and day out with just sort of upkeep and everything. But you know, it's quite another thing to like go and, I don't know, getting your oil changed actually doesn't take that long, but like she had to get her license renewed or something like that not too long ago, and we had to like wake up at 6 or something on a Saturday, which I didn't really mind because it was kind of cool to be able to wake up that early and have the whole day in front of you. But I think I was a little bit sleep deprived, so it felt like I had lost a lot of time and was pretty tired, which then takes away from the fun of the day. Damn it, got this red light. So let's see, let's backtrack. I got distracted. There's like 2 people being pulled over by the police right now. they're in cahoots. A lot of police around here in Atlanta seem like they kind of, what's that word? There's a lot of entrapment, I would say. Just like waiting at lights. I guess that's not necessarily entrapment by definition, but they basically just like wait like spiders. They're opportunistic, and there are certain places where people will often make infractions. And so, like, you know, Atlanta is like a lot of one-ways, and there's a lot of narrow streets and stuff like that. And so there are a lot of signage. There is a lot of signage around the city that tells you, like, what you can do and what you can't do. And a lot of people don't take that into account, especially, like, traffic lights as well. Like, Atlanta is a city where green lights look red or something like that, you know. People treat red lights like an extended green light, or like one last opportunity. Like, right when it turns red, you still have like 3 or 4 cars going through the intersection, which maybe is the same in all cities, but I don't know. Atlanta is known for like a bad crowd of 3 police officers, like swarming with police this area. Atlanta is known for having really bad traffic, and part and parcel of that being true is the fact that we just have like a bunch of really angry and maybe not so skilled drivers to complement the fact that the traffic is so bad. I mean, it's one and the same, really. Geez, there's so many people being pulled over right now. I've seen 3 in like the last quarter mile, and I just saw 3 policemen on motorcycles. Alright, I'm gonna change lanes, get into the slow lane. Going through like the more ghetto area of Boulevard. It's such a weird, man. Atlanta is such a weird city. If you want to see a weird city, really got to come to Atlanta and just kind of drive around, bike around would be my recommendation. You don't really probably want to walk around, just because some areas can get sketchy very quickly. And if you're walking, I think you're a lot more vulnerable than if you're like biking or I don't know, something that's a little bit more speedy. If you need to get away, if a situation arises, it's nice to be able to have some sort of advantage over your assailant, which biking isn't necessarily like an advantage per se. But if you need to get away and the person doesn't have a gun, you're probably okay. Lord, what the fuck? I hate it when people like start inching forward. I'm not a bad driver, but I'm extremely defensive, and I don't drive very fast. Like I'm a big fan of like having at least 100 school buses of distance between me and the car in front of me. So I think that's like 1,000 feet. So I like to have about 1/6 of a mile just of clear vision, and sometimes that means I have to drive really slowly. Like sometimes I'll be driving like 5 to 10 miles an hour, like on a huge highway. Like one time I was traveling cross country, and I was going from Indiana to Portland, Oregon with an old girlfriend. And we were driving, and I think it was one of the first days that we were actually making the trip across the country. And so like we were in like Kansas or something, some state that's pretty close to Indiana. And we were switching off driving, and I think this was like the first time that it was my turn to drive. And so like I got behind the wheel, and I was like, I'm kind of like defensive with my driving. Like I'm kind of like, I don't like to go fast. I don't like to tailgate people if they make me mad. And that was fine. That wasn't a big deal. She said she wanted to sleep, and so I was like, she was actually kind of glad that I drove that way, because she didn't have to worry about like getting jarred awake. But I got on the highway, and again, I like to have at least 1,000 feet of distance. So I ended up getting pulled over by a state marshal because I was going 3 miles an hour, and the speed limit on that part of the actual street, or it was a highway, was 80. Like, this is like a very serious, like, a very serious type of road. It's like a thoroughfare that I guess goes through multiple states. So it goes like all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. And so certain stretches of it, the stretch we were on was 80 miles an hour. And I was going 3. So I was going, let's see, 80, 20, 40. I was going like 30 something. Let's call it, I was going like, let's say I was going 27 times 3 times slower than I should have been going. Yeah. Hold on a sec. Taking a quick turn here. Going into the old Trader Joe's parking lot on Monroe. Shout out, hashtag. Hopefully it's not too crowded right now. I wanted to kind of time this to where it wouldn't be like a ton of people going. And I thought that like on a Friday night, it wouldn't be too packed, but you know, 2 packed shakers, they say. Let's see. Okay, well, I'm gonna let this person out, and then I'm gonna get their spot. But yeah, no, I got pulled over, and it was a $1,200 fine for going that slow on a major highway. And I was on probation for like a year and a half because I couldn't pay that all in once, and my parents, I was too embarrassed to tell them about it. So here we are. I mean, don't worry about it though. I mean, it's just a podcast. It's just a CarCast at that.
You've been listening to
A production of
the Podcast Empire. Spread the word.